Do
you want to sit back?
Does it look like I'm looking right at the camera right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's over here.
You're live.
It's live right now.
What's that?
It's live right now.
Yeah.
Apparently.
He's live.
Yeah, we give Ricky the
Cool. Oh, that's cool.
I was hoping Ricky would be here, but
Wow,
I'll
it's got.
I'll see him.
Is this from the Fire Horse year?
Yeah.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ready, everyone?
You fire
That's
horse.
cool. Congratulations. How do you get those made?
They had it on this. We got them in the store, and I saw them. I was like, I gotta get these. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Anyways, let's figure out.
I like
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. That's
Thank
got a
you.
good feel to it. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you. Excited for you. This is.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
That is what you want.
Yeah.
You're so awesome.
This is what you.
Those are the best.
Best for the best.
Hey, will someone write a comment in the chat so I can see if it comes up here? And also let me know if the sound is okay. Because last time we used the microphone, but this time we're not, so we're checking this out.
Do you have a gotcha? Oh,
You caught you here?
no.
Be sort of surprising.
Which is awesome.
I know.
We need it so.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It could rain just like this for 2 weeks and we'd still be no place. That's like 50% of the snowpack. We're going to start in just a minute, everyone. Nice to see you. We're kind of waiting to see if anybody else shows. It's rainy in Denver. Has it ever been rainy in Denver? Chat. Some messages, such as potential.
That's super fun.
Welcome. Oh, okay, I see. Thank you for writing something good, and sound is good. Oh, merci beaucoup. That's fantastic. Looks like I'm looking over here, I know, because the iPad is this way and the camera's over there, so I gotta train myself. I should put a little eye there. I'm looking at the eye. Looks like I'm because when I look at myself, I look like I'm like I'm gonna try not to. I don't know if I have to push this from time to time. No, maybe not. Good. I turned on, actually, would someone just write a message there again, just to see if it now pops up? I tried to adjust it. It shows if I push the thing, but let's see. Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. That way I can see if there are questions or if you guys have any comments or whatever. And also, I wanted to say that Ricky, who does all of our production and stuff, thank you, Ricky, put the dedication of merit in the description or something at the end. You have to push the button, I think, to see it, but we'll do that at the end, just so you can look at that if you wish to, which is awesome. And if you have questions, then just put them in here, and if I can answer it then, I'll do it, and if not, we'll do it a little later. Maybe we should just start. I don't think anybody else is coming. Who knows? Ta-da! Welcome. Welcome to you guys who bothered to come. Thank you. Welcome to you guys who bothered to be online. So happy to have you. So happy to be here. If you don't know me, I'm Joseph Wagner, longtime student of Buddhism. Started out in the Zen tradition and then got into Vajrayana after I met the great master Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche in 1993. Became his student and didn't look back. I still love Zen, of course, but I stayed focused in Vajrayana until now. So our meetings on Wednesdays, if you're new, are open, of course, to everyone. Please feel free to share the link, share the information with whomever you feel would benefit. And we're here every Wednesday. If I'm not able to host, then Ricky, the owner of this yoga studio, Clearlight Yoga in Denver, will host. But for now, I'm here, and you're here. And we've got an hour and 15 minutes to be together. That's awesome. When you meditate, which meditation's like yoga or working out or any kind of thing you're doing for, to improve yourself, you got to do it kind of like a lot. Like it's best to meditate every day. The good thing is you can just meditate for just a couple minutes and you cover your bases. And if you do that regularly, your practice will deepen and your time will lengthen, and you'll notice you're even meditating when you're out doing things. It's pretty great. So I invite you to consider that as a possibility if you are not a regular meditator. And if you are, then keep going. That's awesome. When we meditate, we do it in 3 phases: the orientation phase, the main part, and then the dedication of merit. And we're going to do all those tonight. So, looks like I'm kind of glitching out a little bit. Forgive me, we're doing our best with this new YouTube streaming hooby-dooby. A couple of minutes, those are key numbers. You got to pump those numbers. Yeah, you got to start somewhere. In fact, we always want to start where we are. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we got to start where we are. And if you meditate every day for 1 minute, the next thing you know, you're meditating 5 minutes. And the next thing you know, you're like, I like this. And then it starts to, extend, deepen. And then your whole life becomes permeated by the smell of meditation. I know in Zen they don't like the stink of Zen, but we need this in this world. What's the smell of meditation? Presence, awareness, compassion, freedom, loving it. All these things together. So anyway, welcome. When you meditate, you got to do 2 things in the beginning. This is called the first excellence or the right orientation. Most of you know this, but still. The first thing to do is to recognize how incredibly fortunate you are to be even wanting to do this, much just being able to. Right? Think about what's necessary. We got to be here. You got to be ambulatory. You got to be able to sit up. You have to have an attention span. If you're at home, you got to have a computer, a phone. You got to have internet connection. It's not easy. A lot of things are against us, right, in terms of this. But we all did that. Awesome. That's great. And when you think like, wow, I'm lucky I can do this. I'm lucky I even want to do this. That is really, really beneficial for the continued practice. It's good for you during this session, and it's good for you for all future sessions. The likelihood of repeating something that you feel grateful and happy to be doing is higher than things that you feel like I got it, now I got to meditate. So take a second, reflect on our joint good fortune and your personal good fortune, and allow that feeling of gratitude to permeate your system for a second. Most things we do in our lives, most things I think if we're honest, have almost no value and no purpose, right? Or they serve an immediate purpose, but not a lot of sort of depth there. When you meditate, you really are touching what's most essential to being a human, and that's amazing. And that's not something we do all the time. I mean, depending on your job, that's something we rarely do in our job, in our work life. We mostly work because we need money. Welcome.
Hello.
People are rolling in. I love that. But when we meditate, it's touching what is most essential in us. And that's very special. And when we do that, there's kind of 2 ways to do it. We can do it for me. I'm going to experience some peace, some freedom, some looseness. I'm going to, get out of my own head, whatever ways we think about meditation. But a more excellent way to think about it is to think, I am going to experience present awareness. I'm going to experience peace, not just for myself, but for all beings. not just humans, right? But for everybody. Think about the world right now. A lot of trouble. I don't know where you are. We're in Denver, and Denver is a little rainy, which is awesome because we have so little moisture in the air right now. But things are pretty peaceful here. But the rest of the world, kind of not so peaceful. Kind of rough, actually. It's more or less always like that, but especially chaotic right now. When we take a chance on our own present awareness and live in this moment of openness, if we do that for everyone, there's some benefit for all beings. There's a slight sigh that goes out on behalf of the world. They're just like, oh, thanks. So we want to have that attitude. That attitude, if you ramp it up to thinking, I'm going to attain enlightenment for the good of everyone, then that's called bodhicitta in Sanskrit. Bodhi means enlightenment, citta means heart or mind. But we can do it at our own pace and our own level just by simply thinking, wow, I'm lucky that I can do this. I'm lucky I want to do this, that I have the time, the space, the intention, the ability, and I am going to do it for the good of everyone, not just for myself. Think like that for a second. Just let that happen. Welcome. People are all new. Like I said, this is maybe the most important thing about meditation is having this attitude. You know, of course you have to do it. If you don't do it, there's nothing to be happy about doing. There's nothing to do for others. But you really have to have this attitude, not just for me, but for everyone. It changes the entire orientation toward practice. Most things we do either totally for ourselves or for those around us or because we have to. It's like a different view. It's a view of looking at the world and us as someone who can actually benefit everybody in the world in a subtle way. That's incredible. That's actually extremely rare. When I like to ski in the winter. Didn't get to do that much this year, but I don't usually go skiing for all beings. I usually go skiing for me, you know. You get out there playing golf. Dan loves to play golf. Do you usually play golf for all beings? You probably do, because Dan is a bodhisattva. But most golfers out there, they're like, I'm going to, double down. I'm going to win this bet. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get totally trashed. Whatever you guys do out there on the course. You know what I mean? We rarely do something for all beings. So again, I invite you, just take this moment and think, I am going to practice being really at peace, being whole, being complete right now, not just for myself, but for everybody, whether they're in this world or in any world. If you haven't sat with us, or even if you have, it's important to remember there are two aspects to this bodhicitta aspiration. There's the relative and then what's called the ultimate. And we want to have both. The relative is to the thought, I am going to do this for the benefit of everybody. Just having that thought is extremely rare in our lives. And it transforms you a little bit. The more you think, I'm going to do something for the good of others, the more of an altruistic attitude you develop. And the higher that gets, the more pervasive that gets, the better person you are, right? Some beings, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama and other beings, they seem to do everything that they do for everybody. That's incredible. And when you've been around someone like that, I've been lucky to be around a lot of Buddhist masters, you get this feeling that they really are even drinking their tea for everyone. It's a very interesting thing, and it makes whatever they do, and then, of course, whatever we do when we have that attitude, very noble. And that nobility is not something that we have a lot of in our world right now. Kind of like a me and you attitude. It's a little bit gross. When we give rise to this intention, that's called relative bodhicitta. It's the aspiration. I'm going to do this for everybody. It's a thought, right? But it's a good thought. If we then follow that up with absolutely no mental activity, just totally letting go. If you know how to meditate, entering the state of samadhi, of openness, present awareness, whatever you want to call that, then it's like being an archer. When you're an archer, you have to knock the arrow on the bowstring, pull the string back with the arrow, and then what? Let go. This second part where you just let go of that attitude, that's where it is sent out. That's where it really happens. That's called the ultimate bodhicitta. You have this attitude, and then you just let go. You don't try to not have thoughts or meditate on something. You just do like this. Dan, give me this golf ball. Fire, horse ear. You're holding the idea, I'm going to do this for everyone, and then you just let go. For most of us, that letting go doesn't last very long. Just a few seconds. But that, in that moment of total presence, complete openness, that's the real meditation. And if you have this attitude, I'm going to do it for everyone, it can be very powerful. Let's try it. Let's try it together. So bring this attitude to your mind. I am very fortunate. I am not required right now to do work. I am not required to take care of someone or do something I don't want to do or even something I want to do. I'm just not required to do anything. I just be at peace here. And I can do it for the good of everybody, and I am going to do that. Give rise to that intention. And right in the middle of that intention, just let be. Good. Since you guys are on, you guys know this because you've been here before, people are present. Some of you online probably haven't been, or only a little bit. Two kinds of sharing happen here. One sharing is like oral. I say things, you ask questions, I try to answer them, whatever. We have like a dialogue going on orally. Mostly it's just me jabbering. But I'm kind of trying to share information, say, make sure you sit up straight and nose over navel, whatever. Just passing on the information that you need. And then you hear that and then you apply it. Right? We say, make your mind like the sky. You think, okay, how do I do that? And you try. That's one way, right? That's how we learn anything. You go to a class on changing your oil in your car. As if anyone would ever do that. Just imagine that you do that. Then the teacher says, okay, you turn this knob and this bolt and you need this wrench, whatever, you put the thing under here. You listen and then you try, you do it. Well, that's one way, common way. The other uncommon way, and this is special for the meditative environment, is that when people meditate together, there are different levels, right? Some people are really good at it. Some people are not good at it. Some people are totally new. They have no idea. If you have enough willingness, enough openness, you can kind of tune in to sounds so California, so excuse me, but so the field, and you can kind of get the feeling of it without having to do much. Meditation is extremely simple. It is in fact not a mental doing at all. It's a mental being. It's a mental letting go of all this doing. So I invite you, whether you're online or here, to tune into this feeling. And you can feel it in this room already, and maybe you can feel it online. Magic, right? Magic of digital passing on. Incredible. Just tuning in to what is happening right now, being completely present, but totally relaxed, not trying to do anything, not trying to hold anything. when we combine this attitude of being in the present, but not really activating anything, not trying to do something, our minds become very clear. It takes a little while, right? It's just the analogy, traditional analogy is you scoop water up from a pond, it's all cloudy, in a glass. You set it on the table, and you leave it for a little while, and the silt starts to settle. The little bits of gick, they just start to settle, and the water becomes more and more clear, right? Don't have to try to make the water clear. It happens naturally. They call this openness the natural state. Now, if instead every second or two you shake the bottle, the cup, it's going to keep getting cloudy, right? Now we have an involuntary shaking going on because we're always thinking and grabbing and analyzing and stuff, so we have to give ourselves a break, little by little, 1 second at a time. We just tune into this present moment, and instead of trying to hold on to it, like concentrate on it or something, we just let be, let go. Many times people meditate, they think meditation's focusing on one thing, excluding everything else. This is concentration, it's not what we're doing here. You want to be very light with yourself. This is really not a state of affairs that you can cause, but you can encourage it by bringing about body, breathing, and your mind, sort of orienting them toward this presence, which usually we're just so busy we miss. We're kind of thinking about the future, we're analyzing the past. We're not going to do that for a little bit. Just like you're doing right now, or not doing, as the case may be. This is more about not doing. But we want to bring ourselves into alignment. We can bring our bodies into alignment, right? So you just want to sit in a way that's comfortable. You might be sitting on the couch, you might be sitting on a chair, you might be sitting on the floor, whatever. The main thing is to put your body in a way that you can forget about it. And the key point is that your back is more or less straight. What does that mean? Nose over navel. You don't want to be like this. You don't want to be twisted. You don't want to be leaning too much. And the subtle part of that is that your head should be slightly rotated like this. Oftentimes when people meditate, their chin starts to go out, and they start to, it starts to look like this. You see this if you go to Thailand. You see the monks meditating, sometimes the old monks that didn't get this instruction apparently. Might be great meditators, but they're all kind of, it makes you feel sad. Right? Do you think it's worth training for full lotus? No. If you can do it, I've been able to do this since I was a kid. I must have been a yogi in my last life. We have pictures. Actually, my parents have a picture of my brother and I. My brother's 3 years younger. I must have been about 8, 9. My brother's a little younger, and we don't have shirts on. And we're sucking our stomachs in, Uddiyana Bandha. And if you know Uddiyana Bandha. And I thought, where'd that come from? It must have come from past life. I have no idea if it does. I just think that's nice to think of. So I have been able to sit this way for a long time, and when I got into meditation, I sat this way because it was auspicious. If you can do it easily, then it's fine. If you can't, it's not important. I'll talk in just a sec. Actually, right now, let's talk about posture. If you're sitting on the floor, all you really need is to let your hips be open enough that you're not like suffering if your legs are like this. If you are, you can put pillows under here so you can relax. It doesn't matter really how high your legs are. It doesn't even matter if you sit cross-legged. You can sit like this. This is an okay posture too. You just need to be able to sit in a way that you can forget about your body. That means your body's not giving you a lot of feedback. It doesn't feel super good, but it's also not hurting. If it's hurting, you're just going to be thinking leg, 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 and that's not meditation. So what I usually say is open, like this posture is probably easiest for everyone. If you sit kind of on one of your feet, usually that causes it to go to sleep, but not for everyone, you know? I like open. If you want to be, if you want to put one leg up or put it all the way up or both legs or whatever, you can do anything that is comfortable for you. Don't crank your knees. If you're going to try to sit full lotus, you have to have the rotation in here because it's not just jacking your knee up. This can really be bad for you. So I've been doing it a long time, so it doesn't bother me, but it probably has weakened stretched out my ligaments in my knees. So it is not worth it, in my opinion. It is definitely not necessary. If you're already a yogi and you can sit this way comfortably, then it's cool, it's great. And it's also very balanced and you can sit for a long time, but it's not necessary. If you have more questions about this, please ask, because I like talking about this. The main thing is just sitting in a way that you do not have to move around. And the key part is actually your hips are slightly elevated for most people. That's necessary. Your pelvis has to be cantilevered forward a little bit. If it's not, if you sit flat on the ground, then there's this little curve in your back, and that definitely does not work. So put something under there, whether it's like a pillow or something to get your hips really high so you can sit, comfortably up. I've been sitting a long time, so I can sit on the flat ground more or less, but that's not at all necessary. Like everybody in here that I can see, I can't see you online, looks good. Looks good. You just want to make sure you're balanced. And for training for full lotus, really short, not a long time. Get comfortable sitting like quarter lotus or half lotus first. It definitely isn't worth straining for. You can hurt yourself, so be gentle. Main thing, be gentle. You just want to make sure that you don't sit too far back on the cushion also, because then you'll cut off these arteries here, and then your legs will go numb. So you want to have it kind of under the back part of your hips. That makes sense. But for us, it's not necessary to sit like long periods. I was talking to someone who's a Theravadan teacher, friend of mine, and she said she went to a retreat. She was leading a retreat, and there was a guy there who could maintain some sort of a samadhi state for like 4 hours. But he had to like set this whole deal up. So he had all these pillows, and he'd like set himself up in this thing, and then he could just be like, and he could just sit for 2-3 hours without moving. I don't think there's much value in that, but it's kind of cool. You don't need to do that, right? You just need to be able to sit in a way that for some period of time, a couple minutes, 10 minutes, your body's not screaming at you. If it is, change postures. Does that make sense? Yeah, don't force it. The main thing is your back needs to be straight. That's like a hair on top of your head is lifting your whole body like an anatomy skeleton. Not like this with your chest puffed out like you're in the army, but definitely not like this. This is not good. So you want to practice sitting up straight. With your hands, I put them on my legs like this. That's the posture of resting your knees. If you like a mudra like this, or you have some other posture, it's fine. I don't recommend this one, like you see sometimes. It's a little contrived. This, you can always sit this way. You go to the park, you think, hey, I can meditate a little bit. You can just sit there, right? Nobody knows. We call this the posture of resting in ease in Tibet. And I think it's the easiest one. So that's what I do. But you may do what you want with that. You just want to be able to let your body be like when it's asleep. When it's asleep, you're not thinking foot, foot, foot. You're just not thinking at all. Your body just disappears. Same here. Make sure your head is slightly forward like this. You don't want your head like this because it's hard to notice, but you start to sit like that. It's very useful sometimes if you're just getting started. Sit in front of a mirror and you can see sometimes. I've also heard that you can make like an improvised plumb bob where you got a string with a weight, a pen on the end or whatever, you tape it there, and then you can see, am I straight or not? Because sometimes you feel like, oh, my posture's great. When you actually, scoliosis still. Like, that's not good. You just want to make sure you sit up straight. In fact, there are whole schools, especially Chinese Buddhism, that emphasize the posture so much, they just say if you have the right posture, you're immediately meditating. Maybe it's true. There is a blessedness about the cross-legged, upright posture, just as long as it's easy. The key thing in this kind of meditation is letting go. Self-dropping, Tibetan wrong bob, to let go. So you need to have a posture where when you do let go, you don't fall over. So you just want to be like balanced. One more thing I thought of with the question about full lotus. If you want to learn to sit comfortably, you got to stretch out a little bit. And this exercise can be useful, rocking the baby. You know, when you first start, you can't even do that. Take it easy. You're not cranking on your knee, right? You're stretching out like this, stretching this part of your hip. IT band kind of stretching. The more you do things like this, I live my life sitting on the floor. I have a low table. I want to sit on the floor. It's where I work and stuff. If you do that a lot, then sitting is easy. If you sit always in a chair, it's harder. So if you have kids, then you spend more time on the floor, right? Tell you a story. My mother told me just the other day. She went into the doctor, as she had not seen this doctor. And at the end of her appointment, she got up and she noticed her shoe was untied, and she bent down and tied her shoe. And the doctor was like, "Wow, you can tie your own shoes?" And my mom was like, made me laugh. He said, "Not many of my patients can." My mom's 84. So if you keep active, it gets easier. You know, it's easy to sit, easy to move. When we are meditating in this style, we want to have our eyes open. This is news to many people because they think, "Oh, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to close my eyes." But the only thing we do when we have our eyes closed is sleep, right? And meditation, at least from a Buddhist perspective, is the exact opposite of sleep. It's about awakening. If you're asleep and someone calls your name, "Hey Joe," the first thing you do is open your eyes, very first. So we might as well start one step ahead so your eyes are open. They're not crazy open, like a lunatic, and you're not so chilling that you can almost gonna fall asleep, just in the middle, natural. But you want to set up your eyes in a way that you don't need to mess with them. So you don't want to look around too much. You want to let your eyes be still. In the beginning, you're going to blink, because we blink continuously. But later, you don't have to blink. It will get, space between blinking will get longer, and the body will be more and more still. And in that stillness, you can step behind the active, busy mind to a place of true openness, of real peace that we usually don't touch. That's what this is about. It's not about looking cool. It's about getting behind the mind. And since the body's easiest to control, we control that first. So let's just try it. Just adopt whatever posture. If you're sitting on the couch or whatever, it's fine. Just make sure you sit with the back straight. And your eyes are open. They're not staring at something. You're not holding something with your eyes. You're just casting your eyes in front of you. Good.
I've been kind of thinking about different meditation practices, and it seems like there's a practice you're talking about of this letting go of spaciousness, of kind of allowing thoughts, feelings, emotions to arise in that space, to continue to kind of get closer and closer to that just natural state kind of behind those things. And then I was also kind of practicing more of kind of like generating bodhicitta or generating just driving around, trying to be more outward in that. But I wonder if you can resolve for me like there, because it seems like one is this kind of this idea of kind of no self or letting go, and the other is kind of almost generating something, almost feels like from the self.
Very interesting and good question. If you can't hear online, he was just saying he's been going back and forth between this kind of openness, letting go practice, and then actively thinking like, man, benefit all beings, may everyone be well. This kind of like loving kindness meditation. And how do those relate to each other, and how do we work them together? We're actually doing it each session. When you give rise to this intention, I'm going to meditate for everyone, and then you do that, this is like the highest form of that, because the intention continues, even though you're not thinking it. You know what I mean? Like the vibe of that, may everyone benefit from this, continues. It's just usually when we talk about it, it's as if you do that one time, and then you do this long session of just sitting there, and then you're done. But if you want to bring those together, like you're talking about, you can do exactly what you're doing. You're driving around, right? And you see all the people, and they're, some seem happy, but a lot seem pretty concerned. Like kind of worried. I'm kind of like, life is hard. They're like, we had, I have to put it in parentheses, yesterday, oh my God, it was like the freak parade in Denver. Oh my gosh. Wherever we went, they were out. I mean, looking terrifying, like just like hot. I can't look like zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry. Not making fun of it, but it was intense. I mean, it was intense.
Where were you?
We live in Southwest Denver, and our little neighborhood's nice, but around there's a lot of regular people, and there's some regular people in Denver who are like not like the people who live, because you live just a few feet from here. This is a different neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah, you go to Wash Park, we're right by Wash Park, beautiful place, everyone's got their nice Lululemon clothes on, everyone's looking sharp.
We had a shooting last year. We're a little edgy.
Yeah, Denver, Denver is a city. Denver is a city, but you go that way or anywhere, and it's just full of like, people oppressed by the world, in a way that you probably don't see at your office, right? We just don't experience that as much in our personal relationships, I hope. That is like a perfect time. You're driving around, you see people, whether they're begging on the corner or they're looking like the people we saw yesterday who just look like one step from the hospital, like not well. That causes you to have compassion, especially if you're practicing this kind of openness in your life in general. You feel like you see them and you're like, my God, this person has to live with this, whatever it happens to be, this tattoos all over their face or whatever deal they have going on that to us might be like, wow, pants are falling down. It's like rough, That's the perfect moment to be like, may this person experience peace. The deal here is that a thought has very little power to do anything. It can change us, It can change us if we think, may all beings be happy. It makes you feel kind of like, okay, I'm tuning in. But it's just a feeling, right? It's just thoughts. If you then let go in that space, it's like the wave goes out. And that can have real benefit. It's not always noticeable at our level of practice, but it can be noticeable. The more you pay attention, the more you can feel. Sometimes you can really feel it. And you can feel that it's having like some sort of subtle effect. Because those people, whatever their troubles are and whatever's going on in their mind, how crazy they look, talking to themselves, whatever it happens to be, they also have a space behind their mind. And it's possible that because you are in it, just like when we're together meditating, we all kind of feel it. They also may feel it. And then you become like a real source of benefit everywhere you go. To really do it in a way where everybody notices, you have to do a lot of practice and you have to be a blessed person. But how do we get blessed? Little by little, right? Right? That's a good question. Doing these things together until they also are like arising together. The compassion also arises as a kind of emptiness, kind of openness within the space of your mind. The spaciousness that compassion can arise. That can be very powerful for oneself and also for others. And so I think that's the way to try to do it. You can, doing active meditation, loving kindness practice, developing bodhicitta, simply driving around and thinking, whoever I interact with today, whoever I see, I'm going to wish well. That is incredibly rare and incredibly powerful. And if you also have the energy of the mind nature view, it's much more powerful. It's not just thoughts. You know what I mean? It's kind of the way that I see it. When we make aspirations, when we make prayers, the praying, the thinking of it is the knocking there and the pulling it back. But for the arrow to go, we have to let go. And that's what I'm talking about here. You understand what I mean? That's how I would sort of go with that. I'm an ordinary person. I have lots of thoughts. Most of my thoughts are about me. But I have noticed that the more I practice, the more spaciousness there is in me, and the more beneficial that is for beings around me. And I figure that's happening a little bit. And I have been around those I would call, say, masters, who, one guy in particular in Tibet, as soon as you kind of turned off the main road into the valley where he lived, it was hours down that road, you could feel it. It was like everyone was on drugs or something, and people would, you could see it in their faces. He was like really having some effect on everyone. At the monastery, it was so strong. It was like, I even stopped one of the monks on the visits I was there and said, like, is it always like this? And they're like, yeah, isn't this great? It's amazing. It's because Rinpoche, and Rinpoche means like precious one, it's because Rinpoche is so amazing. Pretty cool. So the more we do it, we follow in their footsteps. Even if you just once a day, you just think, may everyone be benefited. It's still way better than what most people are doing, which is just me, 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 me. How do I get ahead? Not to put people down, but that's what we're trained in. Now we're turning that around. Is it going to be immediate? No. Is it going to be possible? Yes, it's obviously happening to you. Pretty cool. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of everyone. I kind of think the world's a pretty dark place, There's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of difficulty, there's a lot of confusion. People are not sure, especially these days, because we've received so many bizarre messages from everyone in authority about what's important and how to proceed on. And it's like very different than, say, when I grew up, what the general tone was. If you think of it as like a very dark place, even if we just light one match, it's still a little bit lighter. Maybe it's not going to light the whole world up. Maybe it's not going to change everyone. Maybe it's not going to change anybody. But it is kind of changing us, and that is something, Kind of like if you had a little flashlight and it's very dark. Wherever you go, the flashlight's flashing, If you've got a flashlight and I don't have a flashlight and you come over by me, it's lighter than it was. I think that that's a better attitude than having I'm not saying you're doing this, but one could have a very critical mind and say, I want direct results. If you have a softer heart, that's a lot of direct result right there, I think. And that's what we should try to do. And everything I've learned in my own experience too is that the more open we are, the better. The more free our minds are, the less even grabbing ideas of I'm going to help everyone or whatever, the more things naturally seem to work better. So I think that's the sort of general attitude toward it.
Yeah, I found that I had this insight into how critical my own mind is by practicing, like trying to be in this loving space. You know, with what was coming up, I had to face the fact that what was coming up in my own mind was not loving. You know.
I'm sorry that you had to face that, but how amazing, awesome to even have that insight. How rare, right? The practice is working in your life, I have to say. Just to have that even occasionally, you know? Very good. Keep it up. Keep it up. We can use as much kindness and love, even if it's on purpose, forced, whatever, as we can get these days. So that's great. It also works the other way, that out of this natural openness, there's a certain kind of love that comes automatically, a certain kind of uncontrived compassion and care that arises completely naturally, not on purpose. So if we do it both ways, if we actively train ourselves to be like, okay, for the next 5 minutes, every person I see, I'm going to think, may they be well, may they have everything they want, whatever. That's like working from the mind to the openness. But also, if you just practice the openness, this kindness naturally happens too. So it's kind of like we work from both ways. That's good. No, it has more power that way. They say that naturally, out of recognition of emptiness, of openness, compassion naturally arises. They're really one thing, but we have to emphasize one and then the other because our minds are so dualistic. But that changes over time. Good question. In general, our orientation toward meditation is for the benefit of everyone. And that naturally goes with you when you get off the cushion. Naturally. It becomes harder and harder to kind of take advantage of people or be a bad person and whatever that means. And it just becomes more natural that your off cushion life and your on cushion aspirations fit together. You become softer. You become more free. And as a result, you want other people to be more free. It's nicer. Doesn't mean you don't get mad. Right now we're like this, like a fist all the time, constantly holding. When we practice, go, okay, just relax for 2 seconds, go on, you can do it. And we still go back to this, but at least maybe we notice, just like you said, the very noticing that most of your thoughts were not loving kindness, that is like wonderful. Amazing, because then you have a basis of comparison. You're starting to see how it can be. That's just incredible. That's wonderful. That's really something to celebrate. And I want to emphasize for all of us here and you online, celebrate your successes. If you meditate 3 days in a row and you're not a meditator, that's freaking awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back, have a chocolate chip cookie, whatever, just to celebrate this. You want to anchor this, because if you don't do it, you are totally ordinary. And ordinary people are like a stone falling down a mountain, rolling down a mountain. It takes absolutely no effort to do selfish, negative things. We are trained millions of lifetimes, if you don't believe in that, all of our lives to do what's good for me. I don't care what's good for you. We're trying to switch that around right now. So if when I used to teach second grade, when I taught second grade, someone told me, catch them being good. I like this phrase. You got to catch the students when they're doing something good and say, hey, you're doing so well. Good job. Since we have no guru to follow us around and tell us these things, we have to be our own guru a little bit. And we have to catch ourselves. The very idea that you are driving around in your car thinking, may everyone be well, is like, how many people? So make sure that you celebrate that a little bit, in yourself, because then we start a new kind of habit with our mind. And the more we do that, the easier things get. And the more we want to meditate, because that's the fuel that allows us to do this. Bodhicitta, that thought of I'm going to benefit all beings and the openness that's inherent in that, that is like a fuel. And the more you do it, the more powerful that gets. And it can overpower our bad habits and overpower our selfish attitudes in a way that can be really transformative. Very transformative. Maybe not all of a sudden, but quite noticeable over time. All right, we think of our lives as like a ship, a giant cruise ship. You know, we're going toward a port. What's that port? If you're Buddhist, automatic rebirth, coming back. Whether it's coming back into our old habit ideas of ourselves or coming back at the end of our life into a new body, who knows? It doesn't matter, but coming back. That's the port we're heading toward. We see this other port of like freedom, and in the middle of that freedom, a kind of bliss that isn't generated because you're getting what you want. It's generated from inside you. A kind of happiness or openness that is like the sun shining. It's like nice. We want to go to that port. How do we get there? We got to turn the wheel. But we just don't turn the wheel for 1 second and then let go, because the ship is already going this way. You turn the wheel, it starts to turn, but the momentum of the ship, the wheel goes right back, and you just keep going where you were going. So it's important to turn the wheel and then also encourage ourselves, hey, this is hard. I'm trying to turn this giant ship. I got to put some energy into this. I'm doing that. Nice. And celebrate that and practice that. Catch yourself doing that like we catch those second graders being good. You know, I saw it happen in that second grade classroom, in those rooms. You know, the kid is always acting up. You're constantly saying, can you please stop that? Then for one little brief moment, they're actually doing something. You're like, good job. Then they feel like, whoa, I bet I can get him to say that again, like a dog, right? At first, you got to encourage them. So we are like that too, creatures of habit. You know, whatever it happens to be, going to the gym when you're not in the habit of doing that, or you're saving money when you're in the habit of spending everything you can, or you're involved in your old bad habits, whatever, and you take one little break from that, you gotta say like, hey, good job. You know, we catch ourselves we're critical mostly of ourselves all the time, right? So when we catch ourselves doing something good, it's new, and it feels good. There's a little light in that. And you know what I mean? But the fuel behind it is this openness. We talked about the body being still. We want the breath to be still also. Not breathing too much. Normally breathing like this. As you meditate, your breath becomes more calm. And at some point, you can just stop breathing entirely. And if you link up that, just for like a moment, not very long, if you link up that with the eyes not moving, the body not moving, then the mind gets very open very easily. You don't have to force it. Breath is like this, and when it's out, just a little bit out, right? You're not like breathing, not like that. Just a little bit out, you just don't breathe for a second. You're not locking up your glottis and like, you're just like, letting that go 1-2 seconds. It's like unhitching yourself from a cart. Cart is still going. The body continues to breathe, but somehow your mind is a little bit free. You don't have to do it every second, right? Just do that and let it be. And then your body, you start breathing again, but you're not really attached. The traditional analogy is like the breathing is like a horse, and your mind is like the rider. And when you take that pause, it's like the rider and the horse are separated a little bit. They come back together, but there's a brief period there where it's like a totally different way of being. You might even still have thoughts. Thoughts might be there, but you're not pushed by them as strongly. And what they say is that you've stepped out in that moment when the rider and the horse separate. You've stepped out of the stream of time. The stream of time is all about becoming. One thing pushing into the next thing, pushing into the next thing. The past moves along, something happens in the past and it's got impetus, it's got power, and that causes the present, and that is likely to cause the future. And we just are kind of like trapped in this stream, and that's a stream of habits, old habits, most of which are bad, right? Some habits are good, but most of our habits are not very good. Right? Whether the habits of being critical of ourselves and others, or the habits of thinking me and you, or the habits of stealing wherever you are, whatever your kleptomaniac crazy mind is, whatever your thing is, right? People have all different things. When we apply this super simple technique of just sitting still, not moving our eyes around too much, letting go of the past temporarily, not pushing into the future, and in this moment, just taking a little breath pause. The stream of our perpetual becoming, which is kind of stressful, you kind of exit that where it stops. Say it's like a water wheel, like a water wheel that's in a stream is turning like a grinding wheat or something. It's like the stream, if you divert the stream, the wheel just comes to a stop. Your karmic becoming comes to a stop temporarily. Feels extremely good. Not holding the space of not anything, just relaxing there. That's something we're not very familiar with. It's called peace. You change your orientation at that moment. Normally we're under the power of circumstances, internal circumstances of thoughts and emotions constantly being churned up, and external circumstances of like what's happening. We are Shen Wang, kind of dependent. And then in that moment of spaciousness, we are independent, we're autonomous. We're not being pushed around by all of our habitual tendencies. And we experience a sense of freedom, peace. This is not what is normally called meditation, which means like focusing on something and excluding everything else. This is becoming accustomed to or acquainted with an aspect of ourselves which is always free. But we got so involved, we got so habituated, thoughts are so sticky that we just go one thought, next thought, next thought, next thought, next thought. And when that happens, you're just completely at the mercy of your crazy mind. And your mind is totally at the mercy of your environment. And your environment is completely at the mercy of the media. And the media does not care about you. They want you to be stressed. Doesn't matter if it's Democracy Now! Or Fox News. They only have one goal, and that's it. You cannot let go. And that is in us. I'm not saying the media is bad. I don't care. But it's extremely sticky, and it influences, and when we say media, all conversations, everything, the pervasive environment of anxiety that exists in our world, and it's been that way forever. It'll always be that way. It'll always be that way. It will never change. But there is an oasis of peace available to us. Amazing. That's like a miracle to even know that. It isn't something that you manufacture. Therefore, it's not subject to decay. The Buddha, his last words, he was just about to die, and he said, "Decay is inherent in all compounded things. Strive on with diligence." Right? This is very good to know. Decay is inherent in all compounded things, all mental states that come together because of causes and conditions, all physical objects, our own bodies, all subject to impermanence, to decay. They're in the process of coming apart all the time, whether it's your pants or your marriage or your work situation, everything is constantly changing. But this is not made, it's not manufactured. You're not making it by being still. You're just becoming accustomed to something that's always there, but we overlook it because we're so busy. And that is amazing. It's maybe the most amazing thing. You already own it. It's already yours. I'm not giving it to you, nor do you have to get it from some lama in Tibet or some dude in the Sahara Desert or shaman in South America after 12 cups of ayahuasca. You don't. You have to buy it. It's yours. But you do have to claim it. And the first thing to claiming it is recognizing it. Right? So you have to recognize it. It's behind the mind. The mind's just thoughts, emotions, plans, ideas, memories. But there's this other aspect of us. We could say it's over here. Because everything over there, subject to impermanence. Right? Look around you. I see socks, I see pants, I see jackets, I see windows. All those things come together out of different materials, and at some point they'll come apart, right? Even if we take really good care. This is not subject to impermanence, and that's incredible. It's like a whoa, and it's already yours. Wow. You just have to remember. You have to touch that or become accustomed to that, whatever you want to say. Acknowledge it, remember it, notice it. And we have to let it be. We're not trying to sustain it in particular. We're just being relaxed. The more we do that, the easier it gets, the more easy it is to acknowledge it. Because it's really us. Right? It's the us that's behind our body, behind our personalities, behind our interests or our fashion sense or our jobs or our names. Take some courage to look into this. It's a little scary. A lot of stuff's going to come up. That's okay. We'll do a little exercise. Maybe some of you have done it before, but I don't think you have. So I show you what we do, and then we'll do it together. And you can do it online too. You're gonna put your hands like this, you're gonna shut your eyes, and you're just gonna sit there. You're not trying to meditate, you're not trying to do anything, just be there. I'm gonna do this, and when I do this, you're gonna hear it. And as soon as you hear it, you're just gonna let your hands come down to your legs. And as soon as they touch your legs, you're gonna open your eyes, but you're not gonna move. You're gonna sit still. This has a tendency, this is a little technique for stripping off our continual thinking, and you just have this state of total openness. So it just looks like this. You're sitting there, your eyes are closed. I go like this. You feel this. You come down. As soon as it touches, you open your eyes. And just see how it is. Don't try to meditate. Don't try to do anything. Just sit there and be still. Ready? Put your hands like this. Just relax. Eyes are closed. Not doing anything. Try it again. Hands like this. Don't think too much. Don't think, oh, am I doing it? Am I right? There's nothing to do. You're kind of catching the edge of now. Eyes are closed. Just relax. Important that when you put your hands down, as soon as your hands touch your legs, you open your eyes, but do not move. It's very easy to be like, then you don't catch the very instant. A doorway into this state of openness is just this very instant. So you have to stay still. It's not easy, but you don't have to stay still for very long. So let's try it again. Hands like this, eyes are closed, just relaxed. Everything is fine. You're not meditating. You're not doing anything. It's like the sky, very clear. And then the clouds of your thoughts and emotions come back. That's natural. That happens. But this inherent clarity that's behind the mind, it doesn't get covered up by anything because it is made out of space. It's made out of openness. It's made out of freedom. You just have to acknowledge it. Of course, our habit is to go out into our mind and make plans and emotions and think, I don't want to think about that. I do want to think about this. And what am I doing tomorrow? And what did he mean by that? And what is going to happen to my pension? All this kind of stuff. As soon as you notice you're doing that, you just, oh yeah, just let go. And you're right back in this state of total freedom, complete openness. Let's do it one more time. Hands like this. Shut your eyes. Just be relaxed. I'm going to snap my fingers, and you're going to open your eyes. That's all. Hands go down. Real easy. Just keep in mind, this state of openness is always here. At first, we have to train on the cushion because our minds are so quick and constantly generating thoughts which are so sticky. Our bodies are constantly generating sensations which are so interesting. So you have to practice a little bit of just sitting still. But after you get the hang of it, it's also available in the car, it's also available at the business meeting, it's also available at the park. It's always around. And what is it like? It's like the sky with sun shining through it. And there's a sense of kind of meaningfulness in it, kind of open-heartedness, right? A kind of generalized love. It's not the love you necessarily feel for the person you're in love with. It's not exactly that. It's a kind of like generalized care. And that becomes more and more pervasive. And that is the sort of transformative aspect. And that's inherent in this. It's not something separate or something we have to make. They're the same thing. I don't think I missed any question, but let's see. Meditation with your eyes open is good. Yeah, if you're doing shamatha meditation, one-pointed focus, sometimes it's good to have your eyes closed. It depends on the teaching. You know, there are many different styles. This style, you gotta have your eyes open, because you can also do it when you go to sleep at night. You can even do it in your sleep. It's kind of amazing. But it's good to practice both. But in general, because the state of your eyes being closed is a state of kind of collapsing of your senses, and this is about your senses being wide open, it's better to have your eyes open, in general. But if you're practicing, Goenka style body scanning, then having your eyes closed is necessary. As sometimes someone asked. So, if you have any other questions, ask now, because we're going to finish. We're going to dedicate the merit, and in the bottom of the description, I think, is this little prayer. Which we're going to say. You don't have to say this prayer. You can say, may everyone benefit from my meditation, or whatever. But you do want to encapsulate your practice with the right attitude beforehand, which is those two things. I'm lucky, and I'm going to do this for everybody. And then the main part is to be free from concepts. You're not holding anything. And you can do that over and over. You can even do this if you want. Touching that and letting be. Touching that and letting be. You do that for 5 minutes, you do it for 1 minute, you do it for 1 hour, whatever. Whatever, sticks with you. I'll give you one tip for those of you still trying to meditate every day. Quit when you're ahead. When it feels good, stop. Don't wait till you're like, I gotta stop, this is horrible. Catch it when, that might be only 30 seconds in. You're like, okay, today I'm gonna meditate for 5 minutes. And after 1.5 minutes, you might be like, this is going so well, and stop then. Then you really feel like doing it the next day. You might even sit again that day. Don't wait till you go over the hill. You go over the hill, then you're starting to go down. You're like, I never want to do this again. This is horrible. And you want to catch it on the upside. That's important. Of course, if you're a long-time practitioner, then these things are not as applicable. But it's still good to catch it on the upswing. You do that a little bit of letting be. And then you just think, may everyone benefit from this. May everyone experience the peace within themselves. So we're just going to sit here a second. Just letting be in that which you own. You own this. By this merit may all attain omniscience, having defeated the enemy, wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara may I free all beings. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making the trip. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here online. We'll be here next Wednesday. And we are self-supporting. The Venmo and the PayPal in there, it's to keep this studio operating so we have a space to do this. So if you can offer even $1, it's very helpful. If you can't, it's okay. May your situation improve so you can. Yeah, this is so fun. I'm so glad that we have this online group. It's like there were 14 people there. That's a lot. And we got a bunch of people here. That's awesome. Thank you. Give rise to great joy. We're doing it. Good night, everyone. Be well. That's not how you do it.